every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
It's a beautiful Friday evening here in Lagos. Good evening and thank you for joining us on CoreTV Primetime News. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. In our top story, Kogi residents express satisfaction with security arrangement ahead Saturday's governorship election. Former political advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan, Ahmed Gulag, sues PDP over decision to exclude Northeast from the National Working Committee. The Deputy Inspector General of Police Joseph Umbo expresses dissatisfaction with the manner the Nigerian police has been handled by successive governments. Outside Nigeria, Malian officials say suspected Islamist gunmen who stormed the hotel in Mali's capital are no more hostages. Glad to have you join us tonight on the Primetime News. Ahead of Saturday's governorship election in Kogi State, some residents have expressed satisfaction with the security arrangement. Those who spoke to our team of correspondents standing by in the state advised the security men posted for the election to be professional while carrying out their duties. We'll bring you details of that story later on. President Muhammadu Buhari will depart Abuja on Sunday for Tehran, where he will participate in the Third Gas Exporting Countries Forum, GECF, opening in the reigning capital on Monday, November 23. In a press release by his Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, President Buhari and the leaders of Iran, Russia, Qatar, the Netherlands, Venezuela, Oman, and Algeria, the United Arab Emirates, Bolivia, and other member countries of the GECF are expected to review the current market outlook on gas and discuss strategies for boosting gas production during the meeting in Tehran. Nigeria and other GECF members currently account for 42% of global gas production, 70% of global gas reserves, 40% of pipeline transmission of gas, and 65% of the global trade in liquefied natural gas. President Buhari, who is scheduled to hold bilateral talks with other participating heads of state and government on the sidelines of the GECF summit, will also meet with Nigerians resident in Iran. The president will be accompanied on the trip by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Godfrey Onyema, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, and the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachuku, as well as the National Security Advisor, Major General Babangana Mugunu, is due to be back in Abuja on Tuesday, November 24, 2015. The federal government has asked the Federal High Court in Abuja to dismiss a fresh suit filed by Senate President Bukola Saraki seeking an order nullifying the proceedings and the charges of false assets declaration initiated against him before the Code of Conduct Tribunal. The federal government argued in its notice of preliminary objection filed through its counsel Rotimi Jacob-San that the court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the suit and that it constitutes an abuse of court process. Jacobs also argued in the application which he filed on Friday, that the seat failed to disclose a reasonable course of action and that the reliefs being sought by the applicant, the Senate President, are not available under the law. He also filed a separate counter affidavit in opposition to the suit, contending that the prosecution followed due process in filing the charges against Saraki and did not infringe on his right fair hearing. Nigeria has flagged up a national measles campaign that will target 39 million children between the age range of 9 and 59 months. Minister of Health Professor Folorunsho Adewale launched the national campaign in Abuja.
This is a flag off of a campaign that is to last 5 days in northern Nigeria. It is the first phase of the national measles campaign that government officials say will eventually cover the whole country. Health Minister Folorunsho Adewale is on hand to vaccinate some children. It is a campaign the health authorities say will be taken to rural areas to ensure the universal health coverage plan of the Buhari administration.
The commitment of the current administration to eliminate measles in Nigeria. And what we're doing, following WHO recommendation, is to flag off campaign programs that will help us to improve on the coverage of measles immunization in Nigeria. And we are going to do it in 2 batches. We will do the one in the north from tomorrow for 5 days. Apart from Kogi, because of the election, the campaign in Kogi will take place on the 28th. And then we'll come back to the south, I think 28th of February, January to 1st of February. This administration is committed to taking health to the doorstep of every Nigerian.
The exercise will also reach markets, schools, religious organizations and outpost centers. The National Primary Healthcare Development Authority says the support of all Nigerians is required to make the campaign a success.
What we've done is to start preparation early, and we've engaged all key stakeholders, including parents, religious leaders, traditional institutions, journalists, civil society organizations, so that we can create demand for services. And for this particular round, we are going beyond just using primary care centers and secondary health facilities, but we are also providing immunization in outreach outposts such as mosques, marketplaces, transit points, churches, and high densely populated communities. So the preparation this time around is very comprehensive.
Parents of one of the vaccinated children want other Nigerians to make their children available for immunization.
I'm advising the mothers to always immunize their children very well, to prevent them from any kind of disease.
Nigeria's health authorities say the campaign is a demonstration of the government's readiness to ensure that the childhood killer disease is eliminated totally in the country.
The former political advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan Ahmed Goodluck has commenced legal action against the People's Democratic Party over its decision to exclude the Northeast region from the National Working Committee. Speaking with newsmen on Friday, Goodluck insisted that the lack of recognition suffered by the zone under the Uche Secondus-led National Working Committee was selfish and unacceptable.
We should not be excluded, we should not be ignored. That is the basis of my case in court. I am not against an individual, I am not against anybody. I am only fighting for the rights of the Northeast geopolitical zone, and a lot of our people have given me support that they feel shortchanged, they feel excluded, they feel ignored, and let the court decide whether or not the Northeast geopolitical zone should be excluded from the affairs of PDP deliberately by the Uche Secondus-led NWC. And I assure you the party lost election because of this type of impunity, lack of internal democracy, standing the constitution of the party on the head. We have set a constitution for ourselves. We abide by it. We swore to abide by it, to defend it and protect it. This is what the constitution said, and contrary to the constitution, they are excluding and ignoring the Northeast geopolitical zone.
Information Minister Lai Mohammed has charged the National Orientation Agency to brace up for the task of spearheading a massive nationwide reorientation campaign. The campaign, according to him, is targeted at ensuring a change in attitude as well as to mobilize the citizenry to indulge in acts that promote peace and national development. Emmanuel Ano has details in this report.
The National Orientation Agency is one of the agencies in the Ministry of Information and Culture. It is saddled with the responsibility of creating awareness on government policies and programs and ensuring that they get to the grassroots. So it is not a surprise that the Information Minister set up a meeting with the leadership of the agency at a time the government is talking about a national reorientation campaign.
Very soon, this ministry will launch a massive national reorientation campaign that will be centered around the fact that the change that we all seek will begin with each and every one of us. Not only must Nigerians buy into the change agenda, they must own it and propagate it.
The minister added that the Buhari administration plans to leverage on the unique power of information to drive its change agenda. This, according to him, is with a view to ensuring that Nigerians take ownership of the government agenda in order to build a positive attitude.
To Nigerians, this war is being fought only by the president, the vice president, and perhaps the ministers today. It is time to let Nigerians know that it is their war, that it must be won.
The minister later had a closed-door meeting with the Director General and state directors of the agency. At the end of the brief meeting, Omeri gave an insight into the campaign.
We have a number of usable and adaptable platforms that reaches the people, even at their ordinary places of abode. We do work orientation programs, school orientation program, community dialogue, traditional dialogue. I just came back from Enugu where we had a dialogue with traditional institutions.
The minister and his team have yet to decide when the nationwide reorientation campaign will begin.
Commandant of the Nigerian Police Staff College just decried the poor nature of the infrastructures of Nigeria Police, describing it as total decay. He made this assertion at the graduation ceremony of 47 assistant commissioners of police from the college today. Plateau State correspondent has details in this report.
The Deputy Inspector General of Police that was recently deployed to head the Police Staff College in Jos, Joseph Mbo, has expressed dissatisfaction with the manner in which the affairs of the Nigerian police has been handled in the past by successive governments. He calls on the governments to do more in terms of welfare for the officers and men in the college and elsewhere, especially in rescuing the decayed training infrastructure immediately.
There is total decay in our training institutions. They have been neglected for a very long time, over the years, more than 20 years. So we are facing infrastructural decay, logistics decay, and officers who are here are feeding themselves. Then later allowances are sent to them. It shouldn't be so. Ministry of Police Affairs, which has now been collapsed, how to make provision and then send adequate funds to the commandants so that they can feed them well, and then send them logistics as students to support their research and other endeavors.
So talking about the only doctorate degree holder among the graduates, ACP Joseph, added his voice for the total overhauling of the Nigerian police, adding that the police has the potential to be at the forefront on any issues confronting the nation's internal security.
Police has had a dearth of infrastructure. That is the major challenge. The police has had a problem of underfunding. We know they are all going to the same market to take, but a society that has a sound policing will always have everything in perfect order. Watch the effect of terrorism In Paris, for instance, the whole anti-terrorist is led by the police. Others are supportive. The police is the lead agency. Whatever it is for sentiment purposes, not because I'm a policeman, but the fact is that democracy cannot thrive without a properly structured police force that has the citizens' rights protected. The policeman is
During the passing out ceremony, the commandants urged their officers to become the ambassadors of change when they return to their various police commands across the country.
On all officers to be mentally and professionally prepared to effectively police the nation. In doing this, our secret functions must not be compromised. There is need to remind you that the society we live in today has become very complex, infested with organized crime, ranging from traditional robbery, armed robbery, trafficking, advanced terrorism and insurgency, cybercrime, with criminals becoming more and more daring in their operations.
Other respondents at the event called on the Inspector General Solomon Arase to remain steadfast in his current reforms, which have the potential of giving the nation its dream police force.
We'll take a break now, and I'll be back with more stories. Stay with us.
It's decision time again. The 2015 governorship election in Kogi State takes place Saturday, November 21st, 2015. CoreTV News will bring you live coverage, discussions, and analysis of the election. Join our panelists for the review of Kogi governorship election. Kogites decide. Join us from 9 a.m. live on CoreTV News.
Is it crazy or autocracy? Or what type of crazy is that? Except crazy.
News making the headlines.
Black Maria is to carry criminals, trade looters that are in government today.
Sometimes it gets confrontational.
Slap you in the face. Excuse me, don't put words into my mouth. Whatever it is that will bring our military to disrepute, I said to hell
on Core Digest.
I want to know why I should be believing them.
Every weekday, we bring all of these together and take them to the court of public opinion.
Everybody has a right in Nigeria.
Where you are the judge. Welcome back. You're on to CoreTV Primetime News. Our top story again. Kogi residents express satisfaction with security arrangement ahead Saturday's governorship election. Also in this program, former political advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan Ahmed Gulak sues PDP over decision to exclude Northeast from the National Working Committee. Deputy Inspector General of Police Joseph Mbo expresses dissatisfaction with the manner affairs of the Nigerian police has been handled by successive governments. You can get all of the top stories on any of our social media platforms. At Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle is at CoreTV News NG, and streaming live on YouTube, it's youtube.com/CoreTV, space and news. Against the position of his colleagues on their inability to pay the 18,000 naira minimum wage, the Edo State Governor says the state of the economy shouldn't be an excuse for government to turn back on its agreement. He added that it's not acceptable for any Nigerian worker to earn less than $2 per day. The governor was speaking after the meeting of NLC's National Working Committee in Abuja.
I believe that the issue in the economy has not to do with minimum wage. I don't think minimum wage is the issue, but I also always remind my colleagues that the minimum wage was not imposed, it was negotiated. and state governments agreed to it. The president signed it, not other directs. There was no strike to compel the then president to sign it. So he signed it voluntarily and in good faith. And I believe when you look at the minimum wage as it is today, at 18,000, it's less than $100. I think it's now about $80. Now, if you divide $80 by 31 days, you will be getting about $2.something. Now, we cannot argue that workers in the Nigerian formal sector should not earn more than $2 a day. I cannot subscribe to that.
The federal government has reassured Nigerians of its commitment to the realization of the switch from analog to digital broadcasting in the country. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, gave the assurance on Thursday in Abuja at a meeting with heads of parastatals in the ministry. Basil Akafo has more in this report.
The purpose of the meeting, according to the minister, was to fashion out new ways of addressing challenges facing the ministry. But in his address, he accused federal government-owned media organizations of performing below expectation. Mohammed accused them of showing total disregard for editorial independence and throwing professionalism to the wind.
Let me start with the federal government-owned media organizations, especially the NTA, FRCN, and NAN. I am concerned why you have all chosen to play second fiddle on the country's media landscape. I ask this because the NTA and the FRCN of yesterday are not the same as what we have today. Whereas most broadcast journalists of note in our country today pass through the NTA and the FRCN, there's no denying the fact that the private radio and TV stations are doing much better, at least going by the fact that most Nigerians prefer them to the public broadcasters. Indeed, most Nigerians find the private broadcasters more credible. The reason for this is not far-fetched. First, the public broadcasters have thrown professionalism to the wind, while also showing total disregard for editorial independence in many cases.
He therefore promised to provide leadership that will make them become the first source of information in order to be vehicle of change mantra of the Buhari administration.
To the National Broadcasting Commission, I say we are committed to the realization of the digital switchover in Nigeria because of the inherent opportunities that this will unleash in the news, entertainment, and creative industries, and the vibrancy that it will usher into this sector. This will in turn create jobs for millions of our teeming youth. The same is true of the National Film Corporation and the National Film and Video Censors Board, which are also key to propagating the change agenda.
The minister, however, that the present administration will not deny the opposition parties the opportunity to air their view on government-owned media.
As Plateau State seeks ways to end its over 14-year communal clashes that has almost become the emblem of the Middle Belt state, it's now become customary for every force commander to report himself to the Traditional Council, pledging its support and allegiance for peace. The latest of such commander is that of the Air Force Commandant in Jos, Plateau State. Our correspondent has details in this report.
The new Air Force commander sent to Nigeria Air Force Base in Jos paid courtesy visit to the head of the Plateau State Traditional Council, the Gbonwan of Jos, pledging to be part of the earnest search for peace in the troubled state.
I present myself to His Majesty as the new commander of Nigeria Air Force Station Jos, and also seek for his blessings, support, and advice.
Also in company of the Air Force Commander is the State Controller for Immigration, tasking the Royal Father to assist the community in curbing the advancement of aliens who always poses danger to the indigents.
There are 17 local government areas in Plateau State, and they have permanent rulers. I would like to seek his support in the permanent rulers to support my officers in the local government areas in terms of information and intelligence.
The traditional ruler expresses optimism in the fight against terrorism, which would be duplicated in Plateau State to bring an end to the ceaseless casualties from the perennial communal clashes in the state.
We just hope that this is a huge wake-up call for us to be more holistic in our planning and our development efforts. We must be proactive accordingly. The Air Force has contributed a lot here on the plateau, just like it does everywhere.
It is widely believed that the end to the crisis in Plateau State is not beyond its leaders if the political and human will are brought forward beyond self-interest.
18 people, including 2 youth coppers, were killed in an accident involving a commercial vehicle moving from Port Harcourt to Kano. The accident happened on the Idu Bridge along the Lokoja-Abuja highway. Eyewitnesses say the bus plunged into the river in a bid to escape from suspected armed robbers. Abiola Luwale now reports.
According to eyewitness, the first Tarzan luxury bus was heading to Port Harcourt from Kano State. They said the accident occurred around 3 a.m. when the bus driver spotted armed robbers. The bus was said to have fell into the river under the bridge while the driver was trying to reverse on high speed to avoid being attacked. Ahmed Daura is the unit commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps in Gedu, Kogi State. Mohammed Sani is one of the survivors of the accident.
From Kano. At the drop to that junction, this motor they go Port Harcourt. Me they go on the chair.
Some of the survivors were that when the driver reached up to that hill, he saw armed robbers. So he quickly reversed. On a high speed, they were calling on him to stop. He refused until when he came onto this bridge, lost control, ran into the bridge.
16 male and 2 female died in the incident. According to eyewitness, providing security coupled with needed infrastructure must be provided by government to put an end to endless loss of lives and property of the masses. From Kogi State, Abiola Oluwole, CoreTV News.
The Federal Road Safety Commission, FRSC, is to begin the enforcement of the new speed limit device with effect from April 2016, as against the earlier announced date of September 2015. Co-Marshal of the Commission, Baboyo Oyeyemi, who disclosed this at the 16th Annual General Meeting of the National Association of Road Transport Owners, NATO, said President Muhammadu Buhari approved the new date as a result of numerous appeals by Nigerians on the extension of the date of implementation. The Co-Marshal said over 50% of accidents on Nigerian roads are traceable to road accident and indiscipline by drivers on the highway, pointing out that as part of efforts at addressing frequent road accident, the FRSC was working hard to curtail overspeeding on the nation's highways. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has seized narcotic drugs valued at over 1 trillion naira. The drugs weighing 55,830,837 kilograms and arrest of 72,253 suspected drug traffickers were made between 2006 and 2014 under the leadership of Chairman Chief Executive Amadou Guiade. Now, this impressive scorecard has continued to attract accolades from stakeholders, including the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crimes, the UNODC. UNODC Executive Director Yaki Fedotov congratulated Guiade for his pragmatic and visionary leadership in the fight against drug trafficking syndicates. In a letter signed by the Deputy Executive Director, Aldo Lalademus, UNODC commended the commitment and engagement of the NDLA boss in the continued close cooperation with stakeholders. Business is next after now. Join us again.
It's decision time again. The 2015 governorship election in Kogi State takes place Saturday, November 21st, 2015. CoreTV News will bring you live coverage, discussions, and analysis of the election. Join our panelists for the review of Kogi governorship election. Kogites decide. Join us from 9 a.m. live on CoreTV News.
This is what the people are saying.
You don't run a big economy with generator. They need to do more in terms of energy and power.
Many things to do for this Nigeria about lights, water, and new TT.
For Nigerians that are not gullible, we know that good laws have done nothing good for this country.
Buhari won the election convincingly.
Talk to our husband that you should keep promise about what you said, and because people are watching you, you know, another election is coming.
Because some people will strong for Yoruba land, will be strong man, you don't die.
This nation is moving forward. The best is going to take place.
The people giving voice to the voiceless.
And just before we get to the core business tonight, Nigerian businessman Aliko Dangote has dismissed suggestions that he was among the 170 people taken hostage by jihadists in Mali. An international news agency had claimed that Africa's richest man was in the Radisson Blu Hotel in Bamako when the gunmen struck earlier today. But after the news went viral, Dangote used his Twitter handle to lay the report to rest. He admitted that he was in Mali, but said he left the country on Thursday. Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Dr. Sarah Lade, has denied a news report that says dollar supplies to the interbank, that plans to restrict dollar supplies to the interbank foreign exchange market. Further quoting a source that the central bank had told commercial lenders at a meeting last week that it plans to cut dollar supplies to the market because it's running short of reserves. According to a person who attended the talks, the central bank will only sell as many dollars to banks or currency dealers as it receives from oil exports, which amounts to about $1 billion a month. The person was quoted by Bloomberg as stated. The Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA) has constituted a surveillance team to certify the quality of trucks operating within the ports and Lagos corridor. A statement issued by the NPA explains that members of the team, drawn from the Western Ports headquarters, Lagos Ports Complex and Tinkan Island Complex, are now involved in the physical inspection of trucks to ensure that only trucks which comply with stipulated safety standards are allowed entrance into the ports within the Lagos area. NPA's General Manager, Public Affairs Iheanacho Bogogu, expresses optimism that if the minimum standards of roadworthiness are enforced on all trucks admitted for operations in the ports and the terminal operators adhering strictly to it, it will eventually eliminate cases of mishap within and outside the ports due to faulty and substandard trucks. To other stories outside Nigeria, officials say suspected Islamist gunmen who stormed a hotel in Mali's capital Bamako have no more hostages. The Radisson Blu Hotel was stormed by special forces who entered, after gunmen entered it and seized about 170 people. At least 30 of the hostages are known to have escaped. Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb and its offshoot Al-Marabiton said they carried out the attack, according to an agency used by jihadists in the region. Well, at least 18 people have died and 2 soldiers wounded. Dozens of troops and militants have been killed in clashes in eastern Yemen, according to Yemen security sources. Yemeni officials said soldiers are ambushed by Al-Qaeda insurgents, while so-called Islamic State's Yemen branch said it carried out the attack. At least 12 soldiers and 15 militants were killed in a gun battle and suicide bombing near Shibam in Hadramaut province. Yemen has for months now been mired in a war compounded by militant attacks. Large parts of Hadramaut, Yemen's biggest province, are under the control of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. Chinese security forces have killed 28 people allegedly responsible for a deadly attack on the coal mine in Xinjiang. The deaths took place over a 56-day operation in which one person was detained. It's the first official report of the September 18th incident at the Sogan Colliery in Asko that killed 16 people. Xinjiang, often hit by unrest, is home to Uyghur ethnic minority. China says foreign terrorists are behind the violence in the region. Hundreds of people have died in attacks over the past 3 years. Ethnic Uyghurs, who are mostly Muslim, say Beijing's repression of the religious and cultural customs is provoking the violence. After 56 days of continuous fighting, Xinjiang destroyed a violent terrorist gang directly under the command of a foreign extremist group. Aside from one person who surrendered, 28 thugs were completely annihilated, according to Xinjiang Daily. While security measures will be significantly increased for matches around Europe, much more of that coming up from sports after now.
Our style, that's what he delivered. Here's that ball, storming, Puyol with a flying lead.
Go, taking them out in the lead and really.
On Sport Tonight, security measures expected to increase for matches around Europe, including Spain's El Clasico following the Paris attack. At least 1,000 police will be present at Real Madrid host Barcelona tomorrow in double, which is usually deployed for the match. League One leaders Paris Saint-Germain will wear a special kit with Jesus Paris below their chest for the 3 games. Coach Laurent Blanc said Saturday's trip to Laurent would be hard. Chelsea manager Jose Mourinho says he is confident he retains the trust of owner Roman Abramovich. The Premier League champions are 3 points above the relegation zone after losing 7 of their opening 12 Premier League matches. Chelsea host Norwich on Saturday, seeking to end a run of 3 successful league defeats. But Emanuelo, who is close to Abramovich, said in an interview published on Friday that Mourinho retained the club's support. Mourinho added that he sees no need to carry out significant squad strengthening to January, adding that he expects striker Radamel Falcao to return from a muscle problem over the next 2 weeks, and goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois to be fit for some time next month, having been out since September with a knee injury. Manchester United boss Louis van Gaal says Anthony Martial and Wayne Rooney are among 6 players who will miss Saturday's trip to Watford. The Martial, who's 19, was injured in France's friendly international against England on Tuesday, while Rooney is ill. Michael Carrick, injured in England's friendly against Spain, Jose Mourinho, Fellaini, Antonio Valencia and Luke Shaw on the treatment table. Van Gaal says striker James Wilson is not fit to play 90 minutes, and United have been accused of lacking flair this season and have scored the fewest goals of the Premier League's top 7 teams. They also have the meanest defense in the division. To end CoreTV News Prime Time tonight, a recap of our top stars. Kogi residents have expressed satisfaction with security arrangement ahead tomorrow's governorship election. former political advisor to former President Goodluck Jonathan Ahmed Gulag sued the PDP over its decision to exclude Northeast from the National Working Committee. Deputy Inspector General of Police Joseph Mbo has expressed dissatisfaction with the manner the affairs of Nigerian police has been handled by successive governments. On behalf of everyone here, I am Nifemi. Thank you for watching. You have a pleasant night rest.